obviously those high fashion, editorial, New York, businesses that are very pronounced without naming names, yeah, they're probably not changing. Okay. But the people that model for those brands, it is a select few. It is like borderline celebrity, professional athlete. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean you can't pursue a career if you don't fit that mold. And that's what KBC is about. We're about helping people that don't fit that small mold find opportunities and realize it's possible. Because I think a lot of people who don't know anything about modeling, like the general or like the layman, right? They're going to think modeling is this 5'10", size 00, sharp jawline, high cheekbone girl. Yeah. And if you don't fit that, you can't do that. And that's not true.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Discover Virginia podcast. I'm Joseph Trahan, your host for the #1 video podcast in Virginia, where we explore the rich history, vibrant culture, and iconic businesses that make our Commonwealth truly special and worth talking about. So get ready as together we discover Virginia. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today we're joined with Kay Brooks, the CEO of KBC Management. KBC Management is a selective talent management service designed to connect models, photographers, influencers, as well as artists of any kind with various work opportunities. Joining with us is the founder and CEO, Kay. Kay, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. And for those of you just now tuning in, we're going to be diving into all of Kay's adventures as a traveling model, photographer, and the work that she has done to enable creators like yourself to have a successful path to build a community and a team of talented individuals who support each other in the work that she does through KBC Management. And if that sounds scripted, just because it is, because Kay wrote it the best. So we figured we'd just read it out loud to you.
Thank you.
Kay, we'd love to get started with the conversation today. Where are you from and what got you to stick around and build your life and your business here in Virginia Beach?
So originally I'm from Suffolk, Virginia. And then I went to school in Pennsylvania. And then in 2019, I came back to Suffolk and recently planted roots in Virginia Beach about 5-6 months ago. But we've been working in Virginia Beach for the last 4 years.
Very cool. Was the prompt move to Pennsylvania, was that for school or education or for the modeling ring?
No, that was for school and education. And it's very interesting because I did not always start out in the modeling creative world. I was actually very big in athletics. So I went to school for basketball. I played college basketball.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. What position?
I was shooting guard and backup point guard.
Okay, so don't mess with Kay. If you see her on the streets, like just be polite and say hello. 'Cause you got some fight in you. Wow.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome. And now, Kay, you have an incredible ability to storytell, but even more so, bringing people along your journey. Whether you are playing basketball or shooting photography or doing your modeling and running your agency and management company, it's very noticeable that talkative nature and engagement that you provide to your followers. Is this something that comes naturally to you, or did you have to really develop these skills as part of, building your personal brand?
I would say now it comes very naturally to me, but I consistently work in personal development and growth through mentorship and just reading and always educating myself. When I was in college, I got connected with a group of businessmen who had a leadership program, and I invested in their mentorship and leadership and going to conventions. And they taught me that, none of us are a finished product. We're all working on ourselves. And the moment you stop working on yourself is the moment you're going to go backwards. And it's okay to go slow in life, but it's not okay to go backwards. So just always working on that constant improvement and working on my people skills and leadership skills. So
yeah. Very, very cool. What was your first camera that you got?
My first camera was a Canon M50. Okay. I did dabble with I believe it was a Canon 60 Mark II, but that is DSLR, and I'll stick with mirrorless. It's a lot easier to me.
When did you get to your first camera?
Oh, gosh, I was probably in 2020, end of 2020.
Okay,
yeah.
So pretty recent.
Yeah, very recent. All of this is very recent. This whole venture didn't start until 2019 for me.
Do you recall the first video or photo or vlog that you created? And can you tell us more about that, what that experience was like for you?
The first photo I created... I believe I was shooting a friend and we were just goofing around and we were doing like a boudoir shoot.
Sure.
It was just 2 girls. And I was just like, hey, like, I don't know what I'm doing. Can I practice on you? And she actually wanted some boudoir photos. So I was like, I'll do my best. My first vlog I made it is so cringy. I have it on my YouTube, so if anyone wants to go check it out, you can see how horrible it was. But I was with my friend Bree, who is a almost full-time YouTuber, so she kind of understood it a little bit. And she actually ended up kind of taking it over. She's like, let me help you, girl. And took the camera over, and I was like, thank you. So, yeah, it's all learning curve.
Yeah, it's great to have friends like that are like, no, stop, that's cringy.
Yeah.
I've recorded several videos, and I hear my wife in the other room go, yeah, no, start that again, babe. Like, don't say that. Don't say it like that.
Yeah.
We all need people like that, for sure.
For sure.
As a traveling model, I want to flash forward to that point in your career. You've had the opportunity to visit many, many different places, some of which you featured on your vlog, and hopefully we'll see more of that. I know you kind of stopped. It seems like it stopped like 2 years ago and hasn't been going since, but maybe the return, who knows? Which destinations have you enjoyed the most and why?
Yeah, so actually it's so funny that you say that because I recorded an Italy vlog a year ago. I recorded it, never got to the editing process, and I'm still like go back and forth trying to edit it. But I would say Italy is probably one of my favorites. I was there for 2 weeks and we went to so many places. Started in Naples, went to Capri, Sorrento, Rome, Venice.
Oh, wow. You just ran the gamut. You were just hitting them all.
Yeah, literally a new city every like couple days. Like we were taking trains, taxis, flights, because flights over there are very cheap in Europe. You can get a bunch of them for like, you can get one flight for like $50.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is very affordable.
Yeah. So it's definitely feasible. But yeah, that was probably my favorite trip that I've done. That, and I actually love San Diego. So
San Diego, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have like the 5 beaches or whatever that you can go to. Some popular for photographers, other for the tourist. It kind of hits that all of that, all encompassing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any least favorite places that you visited and maybe don't have any desire to revisit?
So the Dominican Republic is bittersweet for me. Because when I went, I did not go to a tourist area. I was definitely in there with the locals, and it is a third world country.
Sure.
And I think there's a lot of beauty in that. The part that was not beautiful is the water that gives you parasites and amoebas and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yikes.
So I've been there twice. My last trip, I got an amoeba both times. My last trip there, I got some kind of parasite in my gut the last 3 days, and I literally lost like 10 pounds.
Oh, my gosh.
And the locals pretty much say, yeah, every newcomer that comes gets this.
Is it from like the drinking water? Is it from swimming in the water? Like
it's from the drinking water. And if you don't drink, you're not supposed to drink the water.
Sure.
But I think where my mistake is I think they had ice. And I think I assumed the ice was made with bottled water. And
Sure.
I don't think it was. The first time I got it, my first trip, I actually did an internship there. I was there for an entire summer. And I think my hiccup was I brushed my teeth with the water, and you think, oh, well, I'm not swallowing it, so it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not fine. Don't do that. So if you go to the Dominican Republic, do not drink the water.
Yeah.
Don't even let it touch your lips.
I think that's a good rule of thumb when traveling in general. Just stay away from the water.
Yeah.
But it happened twice though, Kay.
I know.
What happened the second time? Was it just so far removed from your memory, you just kind of stuffed it down like, I'm not going to do this again? Or?
The second time, I was in a town that was a little bit, like we had traveled to a town that was a little bit more touristed.
Sure.
And we went to like a little brunch place, and I just wanted like an iced coffee so bad because it's not very like popular there.
Sure.
So we went somewhere that had it, and I'm like, oh my God, of course they're going to follow like protocol. Like they're not going to give me an iced coffee with contaminated ice.
No.
They did 100%
All
because
that for an iced coffee.
Was
it at least a good iced coffee?
It was a good iced coffee.
Well, at least there was some silver lining there, but oh my gosh, great travel tip.
Yeah.
So when you look back on these past few years that have been really like all encompassing of like several different trades and skills, which originated from this premise of always moving forward, how has your personal life shaped your professional journey?
How has my personal life shaped my professional journey?
Yeah.
I would just say my personal life is my professional life at this point.
So they're intertwined. They're not separate.
They really are. I mean, I am all in with my professional life. The only thing personal that I keep personal is like family affairs.
Sure.
And I think that's the hardest part when you're an entrepreneur or you're just hustling and trying to make something of yourself, is making sure you're not neglecting your family and your loved ones, because I definitely did that in the early goings. I was so consumed with moving forward that I was actually leaving people behind, and that's not okay. But yeah, I would say now I'm just my personal and professional, it's all one thing at this point.
Yeah. It sounds like you found like at least a good pace, because it seems like if the philosophy is to always keep moving, but you have family or close friends that aren't always moving, then like, how do you make that balance happen? You know, I think at least for me, it seems like being able to take moments of pause. Cause like we have like young kids, and it's like, you're not getting anything done productive with young children around, or, you know, maybe family members or kind of like seasons of like, hey, I'm staying put. Have you found any kind of like good rhythms when it comes to that? And if so, what does that generally look like?
Yeah, so I had to learn to set boundaries for work and for, I guess, personal.
Yeah.
So for me, my boundary is I don't work past 9 p.m., which is crazy to some people that I'd work that late.
No, that's a really good boundary.
Yeah, but I used to be up till midnight, 1 a.m., you know, working, responding to people who were messaging me or texting me. And sometimes I cheat. Like I had one of the people I manage message me at 10:30 last night, and I responded, you know, if it's something super quick. But then Sundays are firm family days. Unless I'm traveling or there's just like an event going on to where I can't do it, Sundays, you're probably not going to get a hold of me if you're not family or friends.
Yeah.
So just I think making those clear boundaries, because I used to work around the clock 24/7. I mean, I used to have a timer on my phone for when I needed to stop everything I was doing to post on social media. Like I would be driving in the car with my mom and we would pull over on the highway so I could get this post in if my timer went off. That's how serious it was.
Wow.
And it's not that serious, people. You don't need to do that.
Sure. There's like Meta Business Suite now and scheduling posts. And we'll talk about that later if that affects your likability or not. But nevertheless, wow, such a great tip. I'm curious, Kay, because you have, and a lot of entrepreneurs I meet, serial entrepreneurs, like jump from one task to a next pretty quickly, it seems. What inspired you to transition from modeling to photography and eventually starting your own management company, KBC?
Yeah, so that's a little bit of a story, but I'll try to be quick about it.
No, please get into all the details, because this is really what I want to like lead the next part of the conversation into for your potential clients and things like that, them understanding the origin of why does he do what you do?
All right, then you might want to get comfortable for a second.
Excellent.
So in 2019, I was in Pennsylvania. There were some family issues that needed me to come back home. I came back home for those. And at that time, for anyone who's familiar, that's when COVID started to happen. I majored in management with a focus in sports, so sports management. So I was trying to get a job here in Virginia Beach for sports management. But at that time, no one was really taking new applicants. No one was taking new hires. I mean, you couldn't even get an interview because people were closing down. Like the country was quite literally closing down.
Yeah.
So I had to get a little creative with what I wanted to do. And I knew I always wanted to do social media influencing. I had a whopping 700 followers when I decided this was going to be my career path. I just started having my family take photos of me that I thought would be like influencer-ish.
Sure.
And it led to a photographer, and I want to say he was in Norfolk, Virginia, reaching out to me and saying, hey, I got some new lenses and lights. I really need to test them out. I'm looking for a model to do that. Would you be willing to do this? And in exchange, you can have the photos for free. Growing up, we did not really have finances for photographers for like senior photos or anything like that. And I always wanted to do like a photo shoot. So I was like, oh my God, this is an awesome opportunity.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Except hold on, this could be a serial killer, right? We've all seen that happen. Unfortunately, we've heard those stories. So I told him, I expressed my concerns in a less direct way. And he was like, okay, absolutely. Like you can pick the location, you can pick the time, and you can bring somebody with you. And I was like, perfect. Well, I'm going to do somewhere very public. Let's do downtown Norfolk, where the mall is.
Yeah.
Let's do broad daylight and I will bring a friend. I did. He was great. Through that opportunity, I got connected with another individual who owned a production company in Virginia Beach. He no longer, it was Lively Productions at the time.
Okay.
He has now since relocated to Alaska. But he reached out to me, asked if I would do a backpacking commercial for him. I was like, absolutely, that sounds cool. He's like, okay, awesome. We're gonna meet in the middle of the woods. I'm like, I could die.
Yeah.
He could unalive me. So I remember driving there. I almost turned around probably 10 times. And then I was like, I'm in my car. If I see him and he looks sketchy, I'll just hit him with my car and leave, right?
What else? What other choices?
What
do you
other
have?
choice,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This is me in my head. Obviously, I got there. He has the whole setup going. I'm like, oh, thank goodness. So I go. We get really well connected. He becomes a great friend of mine. Helps me build my entire portfolio overnight, essentially, because it's COVID. There's nothing else to do, really. And I started working with a bunch of photographers, and I told him, I was like, hey, I really think I could compose equal or better images than what I'm seeing that's out there.
Yeah.
And he was like, absolutely, you could. He helped me pick out my first camera. The Canon M50 was what he recommended for a beginner. And then I just started practicing. From there, he connected me with an exotic car company that traveled all across the U.S., and I was able to come on as one of their main photographers and travel all across the country for about 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, like you take like the definition of level up to a whole new level. I mean, from like meeting random people online to devising this plan to like, okay, I'm going to leverage my career safely, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds like you were like gung ho from the start. Like what was that process like? What were you thinking during that time? Did you think it was like, oh, this is just like, I don't have anything else to do? Like what were you thinking?
It was the benefit of being young and naive, because
Sure.
when you're young, I mean, think when I was doing this, when I started, I was like 21, 22 years old.
Yeah.
Like you have no responsibilities at that age. You're not responsible for, I mean, I wasn't responsible for a mortgage. I wasn't responsible for kids. I didn't have a spouse. Like I'm literally just thinking for myself. And I think that's the beauty of being young. Because now every decision I make is methodical,
Right.
and
Yeah.
thought out. I'm like, okay, well, we have bills, we have rent, we have, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of like variables that go into it.
So-
But this season was very different then.
Very different. It was just act. And if that's like one piece of advice I could give anybody starting out, it's just act. Because I forgot what quote I heard. I was reading a book, and I think it's the difference between motion and movement. Planning is motion, but it's not movement. Movement is actually acting and doing something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that is something that I live in, is just, okay, we're gonna make this decision and we're gonna hope for the best. And if the best doesn't happen, we're gonna learn from whatever does happen.
Yeah. I love that.
So
2 years traveling,
yeah.
exotic cars. Are you able to disclose the cars or?
Yeah, so I'll disclose the cars that they use. I won't disclose the company.
Sure, of course.
But the cars were anything from McLarens, Ferraris, Corvettes, Mustangs, Porsches. Gosh, I can't remember all of them, but those are a few
absolutely.
to name.
Some like high tier, like next level.
Yeah. So definitely some very fun cars, very fast cars. You could race them around the track. I took the photos for the clients that were coming in. And it was really cool because this company paid for travel, paid for food, paid for hotel, paid you to be there.
Wow.
And then you essentially had like 2 free days in each city. So I would get there early and I would be able to network with other like models or photographers or influencers or businesses in each city that I went to. And you think over 2 years, when you're going to a new city, quite literally every week, I'm talking, I would come home for about 2 days, repack a bag, and get on my next flight. It was a season of just pure utter chaos and exhaustion, but it was so worth it because I made all these connections all across the U.S. And that is when KBC Management came to be.
Wow. Incredible. So having honed the skills in modeling, you are now undertaking your own modeling talent management service.
Yes.
And I'm curious, what have been some of the biggest distinctions you've noticed going from managing your own brand of like the hustle and grind, the 24/7 travel, to now managing somebody else's hustle and grind and 24/7 schedule?
Oh, it has been a lot. And we say that we're the agency for the freelancer because we want somebody that's going to come on and want to do the grind and the hustle. And we're not necessarily here to do everything at all for you. And we don't want you to rely solely on us, but we do want to be able to open more doors for you because it's something I wish I would have had back then. I did most of my career as a freelance model. Now, I did end up signing with an agency, and I did have multiple phone calls with agencies. And what really kept me from signing, and I think a lot of people go through this, is you get on all these calls with these agencies and you do all your research and you find out like this could be a scam or this could be a red flag and you don't know what's good and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I wanted to create something that I genuinely believed was good. And that if somebody decided not to sign with us, it wasn't because we weren't good. It was because we just weren't the right fit. And that happens because everybody has different goals. And there's things like we don't do or we don't offer that somebody could be looking for. One example would be like runway. We're not really a runway agency. So we would tell you not to not to work with us, but we might not be the best fit.
Yeah, and that's an important distinction with any agency, right? You want to be very clear on the expectations of what services is provided and what is not, because the worst thing to do is get in a contract and like you're both locked in and it's a horrible experience. And, the client's expecting something, you're, providing another service, and it can get nasty quick. I want to kind of shift the gear here because on your website, it's obviously visuals are what you're going for, but you did have some text I wanted to kind of pull from and talk about. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
You mentioned that, KBC and its mission is to eliminate the stigmas that follow the industry within your organization. Can you share more about what this means to you?
Yeah, so a lot of the stigmas that follow the industry are like drama, catty girls, nasty, mean people. It's also just a lot of agencies and like stigmas, and I'm not going to name names, but
Regina George. Yeah, is that the one from Mean Girls? Is that the one? Yeah, we'll say Regina George.
Yeah, okay. No, but some of the stigmas are like, agencies will tell models, not to eat or that they need to lose weight when they're already probably underweight, or that you have to be 5'7" and this size or whatever. And I found through all my travels and research that is not always the case. Like, especially now, people are like, oh, the industry says it's changing, but it's not really changing. Like, it is changing if you look for the right opportunities. Obviously, those high fashion, editorial, New York, businesses that are very pronounced without naming names, yeah, they're probably not changing. Okay. But the people that model for those brands, it is a select few. It is like borderline celebrity, professional athlete. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean you can't pursue a career if you don't fit that mold. And that's what KBC is about. We're about helping people that don't fit that small mold find opportunities and realize it's possible. Because I think a lot of people who don't know anything about modeling, like the general or like the layman, right? They're going to think modeling is this 5'10", size 00, sharp jawline, high cheekbone girl. Yeah. And if you don't fit that, you can't do that. And that's not true. And so that's kind of what we try to eliminate. Along with the drama and cattiness, we're a very community, family building agency. And I let people know in the talent on every call, like we have a zero tolerance for drama and negativity and just anything that's going to put somebody else down. So if you do that, we're not going to continue to work with you. We're not renewing your contract. We're just going to part ways. Because I've experienced that. I've experienced the nasty cattiness, the jealousy, I had somebody tell me I wasn't on a job that I was on. And then I didn't show up because I was told I wasn't supposed to be there.
Wow, seems very petty.
It's just, it happens. It is crazy. So I just said, our place, our agency is going to be a safe place. Yeah. And that's kind of what we stand by.
So it sounds like the stereotypes, the what people might see on TV or in the magazines is like, there are these select few models, right, that fit this very, very specific criteria. And UK is saying, no, that's BS. I'm going to change that. I'm going to create a new form, a new model, a new type of modeling where we can equip other voices and other looks that might not be traditionally perceived as okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like that.
Thank you. I like it too.
Would you say that, what would you say is the most distinct difference that sets you apart from other management services? Maybe other management services say the same thing as you do. What is it about the way you conduct your business that sets you apart for your similar client bases?
I think that there are agencies out there that are really good. So I don't want to discredit any of them in any way because
Absolutely
I don't know
not. Yeah.
everyone. But I will say something that I was told. I was so worried about doing something wrong when I started this because a lot of people are trusting you. A lot of people are looking up to you. And I had a friend one time tell me, as long as you're doing everything with pure intentions, that's all you need to worry about.
Mhm.
As long as you're not trying to intentionally trick, trap, or do someone wrong, like your intentions are pure, that's all that matters. And I have lived by that for the last 4 years. And so in our contract, we actually, because you were talking about contracts earlier and how it would suck for you guys to both be locked in,
Yeah.
we actually offer an early release form. If somebody feels like we're not the right fit for them, if somebody's not happy, because if you're not happy with us, we don't want you here.
Yeah. You're
We
going to have to make everybody else miserable with us, right?
Exactly. Or per se, there's an opportunity where you could go to LA and work with this agency, but you're not allowed to have any other contracts. Or same with New York. Our goal is to not hold you back. It is to propel you forward. And I strongly believe that if all we are is a stepping stone, then I will gladly be that stepping stone to put you towards your goals. And I feel like a lot of agencies, they're thinking about themselves. But because I came from that model background, I am treating the models the way I would have wanted to be treated or how I would have wanted an agency to treat me.
Yeah.
So,
Because you have that firsthand experience and you've
Yeah.
already done the reps and you know what it takes, or maybe what it feels like to be told you don't need to be here when you are supposed to be there.
yeah,
Right?
exactly.
So with all of that, I'm curious, what's the hardest decision you've had to make as a CEO so far?
Oh my goodness. So I actually have a COO who now makes hard decisions for me. I think the hardest decision, like for me personally, this might sound silly, but it's letting people down. So having to give any kind of news that's going to let people down is the hardest thing for me to do.
Sure.
For instance, firing or telling a model, hey, like you have to turn around, like they don't want you anymore or something like that. So hard for me. So one example is there was a client we had working up in New York, and they wanted different girls, different talent there that were going to be more local and could do more things because these girls were traveling. And they were 2 hours into their drive to get there. And yeah, I told our COO, I was like, hey, can you call them and let them know what's going on? Because he's so good at delivering bad news. I don't know
Sure.
how he does it. He has a talent for it. I don't know if you know those people who can just make anything sound good. He's one of those. So he told them and they ended up apologizing to him. And I'm like, how did you do that? How did you get an apology?
Hey, you just got fired. It's like, oh, I'm sorry I did that to our company. Yeah. That's kind of how it went. It was just like they apologized to him.
Yeah, kind of.
Wow.
So.
Well, that's a very good COO. We will not name drop them because we want to keep them classified with you.
yeah, he is ours. No, but
Yeah.
he is great. So I think those are the hardest decisions for me is when you have to let somebody down or you can't deliver.
Yeah. All right. We're going to switch things up just a little bit. Your website boasts a large portfolio of collaborative artists. I want to start from square one with you and walk through the steps of what someone would need to do to prepare their start in their own creation journey through the lens of modeling. Would that be all right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Is this for freelance or for signing with an agency?
I'll clarify some terms here. So should folks, let's just say you can kind of pick the terms, like what type of model they are, what type of like career route, whether they're agency or freelance, and kind of start from there. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. I would say if you're going the agency route, which I actually really recommend now being on this side. Back when I was just freelance, I would say, oh my God, don't go with an agency. But now if you can find a good agency, it's going to be helpful, especially if you can find a non-exclusive agency that's going to allow you to work with multiple agencies. Best way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to do that, this is what I would recommend doing. I would recommend finding a photographer, and I would recommend investing in yourself financially. My dad always told me, you have to invest money to make money. And I'm going to say that here. You have to be willing to invest money to
You got to
make money.
pay to play. Yep.
Exactly. So find a good photographer and get good modeling digitals. And if you don't know what modeling digitals are, this is information that's easily found on YouTube or TikTok. So just search up modeling digitals and somebody will be able to give you a full explanation on that. But I recommend just paying somebody that's really good at it versus trying to do it yourself or, a hobbyist who doesn't really know what they're doing. That's going to go a long way. Second thing I would do is get a good headshot. I would invest in this.
I'm taking notes because I'm ready. You're going to set me up. Is the dad bod still in style? Is that?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Dad bod. Okay. You got it.
Let's keep it rolling. Then, okay.
And then the third and last thing that I would really do is, again, with a photographer, get 2 looks of a portfolio.
Okay.
This is just going to set you up for success when applying to agencies. You're going to have good photos right out the gate that are going to get you noticed. Is every agency going to respond to you? No. But that does not mean that you are not good enough. It probably just means that either one, you don't fit their clients, which happens. Every agency has different clients, or that they already have somebody that has your look and they don't want to duplicate. And that happens too, because why would you even want to be with that agency when you're just going to constantly be in competition with another girl who's been established there? If you're going the freelance route.
Oh, can we pause right there?
Yeah,
I have
pause.
A question. So if somebody is like, because I think of what you said is so important, especially in this industry that is so built on what other people think about you. I'm curious, is there any kind of like self-assessment or self-evaluation you would recommend even before hitting up agencies that people take to look inwards or maybe think about when it comes to, their looks, their body type, or maybe some things they should be aware of before they start putting themselves out there?
Yeah, I would say you're going to be your hardest critic out of anybody out there. I know I certainly was my biggest critic, and a lot of other people are. I mean, we've done shoots with girls and they'll say something like, oh, this side of my face is better because I sleep on the other side of my face. And we'll look at her like there's no difference.
Yeah.
But she sees a difference.
But it's in her mind's eye. She sees it as being different. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I would say before you get started, take a good self-evaluation of yourself, figure out how you feel about yourself, because that's going to be so important. How you view yourself is going to be more important than how anybody else views you. And I would just say, make sure you're confident. This industry can absolutely tear you apart. And I don't think people realize that you're going to be criticized and judged on your looks on a daily basis. And if you're not confident and secure, then it's going to be really hard. There are people in this industry who aren't confident and secure, but they're really strong and they can handle those insecurities, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they've built up that resilience. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey everyone, Michael here from behind the camera. Right now we're taking a quick break to acknowledge and thank our wonderful studio host, Atlantic Bay Mortgage Group. When it comes to getting information and guidance on financing your next home purchase, we recommend talking with Atlantic Bay. They are one of the original lending institutions in our home city of Virginia Beach, and have a long resume of getting the job done well and making your home buying experience more enjoyable. So, if you're looking to experience Virginia full-time, consider checking them out today at www.atlanticbay.com. Disclosure: loan programs may change at any time with or without notice. Information deemed reliable but not guaranteed. All loans subject to income verification, credit approval, and property appraisal. Not a commitment to lend. Atlantic Bay Mortgage Group, LLC, NMLS number 72043, NMLSconsumeraccess.org is an equal housing lender. And now, back to today's show.
Freelance route. So we're not going agency, we're going freelance route. What does that look like?
Freelance route, it's hard. It's doable. It's sometimes more affordable. So if you don't have the money to invest in digitals or a portfolio, this way is going to take longer, because if you can just invest right away and get all that done in a week, you can immediately start your career, right? But if you're going freelance, what typically happens is you'll reach out to photographers. You'll see if you can do TFPs, which are trade for print shoots, or collaborations. You'll go do some shoots, and then you're kind of at the mercy of that photographer. Are they going to return the photos? Because they should, but I'll be honest, they don't always. I've done multiple shoots as a freelance model for collaborations and never seen a photo back. I've traveled hours to shoots, never seen a photo back. So that's a risk you have to be willing to take. Do you want to invest the time, the gas, the tolls, whatever it may be to go to a shoot and energy that you might not ever see those photos back? That's not every case. I would say that's about 10% of the time. The other 90%, you'll probably get photos back. I would say half that, 45% of the time, you're not going to like the photos.
That's crazy because like when you think of it, like even if like you had a contract or an agreement or even just like a text thread, you know, like they still, what do? They just ghost you?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, contracts are like locks on doors. It'll keep an honest person honest, but if somebody wants to break it, they will, because at the end of the day, they're going to be calling your bluff. Are you taking me to court?
Yeah.
So at that point, it's like an inconvenience thing. Like, am I going to take somebody to court over a small contract we had who didn't deliver me my 10 photos?
Right. And at that point, it's like small claims court in Virginia, which isn't like, you know, attorneys or anything. It's just a lot of time waiting, right?
Exactly. So it's like, it's a lot of time waiting. You've got to go. You've got to serve them the papers. You've got to, all this stuff, right? So at the end of the day, like people, I mean, if somebody does go through the trouble good on you, you know, but most people don't. And
but if we're trying to start a career, this is a sidebar.
But if we're trying to start a career, you can do the TFP route and then build a portfolio, start a social media, get a digital portfolio where you can use a website, Wix, whatever you want to do. I recommend a website. And then
why do you recommend website? I know why, but just for explanation's sake, explain it to me like I'm 5.
Yeah. So website versus say, like Dropbox or Google Drive, right?
Or an Instagram profile, right?
Or an Instagram profile. Well, the
oh really?
Instagram profiles are really, really good for freelance models.
Okay.
It's probably one of the best ways to go. But why I recommend the website is because it gives you another edge of professionalism.
Okay.
So if you can attach that website and your Instagram, because most people, they don't know how to make it like search engine optimizable, right? Like they don't know how to get that. That's a whole nother layer. So we're just not even going to go there.
Okay.
We're just going to go with the website. It makes you look more professional. The layout's a lot easier to digest for a lot of consumers, and you can put anything you want up there. Where if you went Dropbox or Google Drive, it just kind of looks all scattered and a mess. So that's just my preference. What's yours? I'm curious.
Yeah. So being a model of how long have we been talking? 45 minutes or so. Being a model for the past 45 minutes, I've realized that the dad bod is in style. I'm always fascinated with the ever-changing landscape of social media because you have platforms. Let's just pick on TikTok because that's fun, right? But now recently Trump supports TikTok in the political field. But you have people who will be government will be anti-TikTok one day, but then pro-TikTok the next is what I meant to say. These platforms can come and go. I mean, I think of like, what is the original one? I'm blanking on the name. I didn't have it. MySpace, and you and your friend Tom, like, that can immediately go away. Like Pinterest, like, and Instagram weren't what they were 10 years ago. So like, it seems like they're always evolving to where like, if you rely so much on social media, I feel like you're always changing your brand and your perception. Whereas like a website or, a podcast video or something where it's a little bit more, you own the assets, right? You have a little bit more control over the narrative. I don't know. Does that answer your question?
No, that does. And that actually is a great point. Because I remember, I think it was back in, I want to say 2021 maybe. Instagram had like a crash where they were down for like 24 hours. And I went into a panic frenzy. And that's where I learned don't keep all your eggs in one basket. So that is a good reason to have a website. But it's also a good reason to explore other platforms. So like I don't like naming platforms. But like Model Mayhem, you have to be careful because there's a lot of like scams and stuff on there that you have to be careful. But
it's like the WhatsApp, right?
yeah.
Hey, can you send me this video through this link here, right?
Yeah. So I would say
when your grandma gets hacked on Facebook, don't click those links.
Yeah. So I would say it's a great platform for freelance models to use. You can put a portfolio on there.
Okay.
You can put all your, like a bio, all your measurements, everything. And you can connect with people all across the US on Model Mayhem. So I think that's a great asset to use. Obviously, I think Instagram's a great asset to use, but also staying, a website, obviously, and then staying in touch with the times. Like TikTok, getting on TikTok. And, there's like all these new platforms coming out, like Lemonade, and there's Clapper for a while, but that fizzled out, I'm pretty sure. So just like making sure you're staying in tune with what's recent and what's trending. And I know you're saying like you have to change your brand. But I just think that's part of evolving with business too.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, because, Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, I mean, they're not running the same ads they were 50 years ago, right? Or 70,
exactly.
40 years ago, I think. But yeah. Wow, Kate, we've covered a lot of ground. And you offer a lot of tips and tricks for the social media and the insight through the work that you create as well, which obviously if somebody wants to go the freelance route, they can, but the agency route and calling you is what I would recommend. Having just gone through this whole modeling journey this past 45 minutes, just hire the agency, call Kay. Kay, for you, I'm curious, in the ever-changing world of social media, is there a certain platform you feel is currently more beneficial for solo creators? And if so, which one?
For just creators as abroad, it would really seem like TikTok, like short form video is really trending. Do I personally love TikTok? Not really.
Because once you put it out there, it's not yours anymore. It's the algorithms. It's the social media. I understand you promoted an app recently. I don't know if you're still promoting it. True Fans. Is that an app you recommend folks to try out as well, just to kind of build that monetization wall or at least exclusivity within the work that you do?
Yeah, I do, because it allows you to post as a creator, as an artist, and it doesn't have stigmas of other platform. It doesn't allow certain content, if that makes sense. So it kind of keeps it stigma free.
Yeah.
I think
community guidelines are ever changing as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So they do have community guidelines. And it's something I would look into if you want to just like monetize as an artist or a creator. But I forgot you asked a question now. Like,
you're good. I was just continuing on with the social media realm of like, is it better just like stick to free media apps? Is it better to do paid? Do you work with folks that leverage platforms like True Fans as well through your agency?
Yeah, so you can leverage True Fans. There's a ton of opportunities. Like Backstage is a platform a lot of people use. I think it's like $70 a year. Oh, wow. And you can apply to like all these castings. And I've heard really good things about it. So that's something you could look into, or people, not you specifically, but anyone listening could look into.
I mean, I'm going to try out all these websites now. Yeah. Michael's going to be my photographer. Shout out to the Third Wall Break here. Hey, Michael.
Yeah. So I think any of those is good. I think just using as many platforms as you possibly can, especially as a freelance person. And as a freelance model, you should definitely look into getting an LLC, or any model, an LLC, so you can write off some of these expenses that you're having to incur along the way. Yeah.
Great tip. Okay. Thank you. This has been great. I want to like steer the conversation next towards the community aspect of things, especially because like you mentioned the stigma before. I just picture like from the stereotype, a bunch of mean girls, Regina Georges, out to get each other, and men are the guilty as well. I'm speaking for all male models here as a male model of 45 minutes, but nevertheless, one of the ways you create community is through creator meetups for you specifically. Can you share more about how this initiative came about and how it's been changing over time?
Yeah, so I did my first creator meetup in 2021, and I don't know why I did it. I just was like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. I'm so passionate about it. I want everybody to get to experience this. So I did my first creator meetup in Norfolk, Virginia at the Pagoda, if anybody's familiar with it. And we had almost like 125 people come out. And
wow. That's huge.
Yeah, I did not expect it to get that kind of traction.
Did you do any kind of paid ads, or was it just like, hey guys, let's meet up?
No paid ads. I just kind of like put something out on my story, and then I promoted people that were coming, and then they shared it to their story. Like, we had people driving in from South Carolina. That's where I met my best friend, my now best friend. I met her for the first time there. She flew in, I want to say from Michigan for it. So we just had people coming and of course tons of locals, obviously. But yeah, that was my first one. And then I wasn't gonna do another one because I was just like, this is great. I want to end on this note.
I got everyone's numbers, everyone's names, got some free photos. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's actually turned into kind of an annual thing. So in 2022, I did one at Mount Trashmore in Virginia Beach. And that didn't have as great of a turnout. The day wasn't as nice. It was super, super hot. We had probably about 75 people come to that one.
I remember catching your vlog for that one. And like midpoint, you're like, guys, we're calling it. We're done. It's too hot.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Everybody was just sweating. Like, faces were melting.
Yeah.
So we did do that.
It's a model's worst nightmare right there, right?
Oh my gosh.
You're melting.
Yeah. Absolutely horrible. We did a destination networking event. So it was locals from Virginia Beach. We all traveled to Tampa for a like a networking event down there, and it was a creators networking event for like modeling and all that kind of stuff. I actually have a horrible story about that day, or that event.
One you're able to share, or too horrible?
No. I can share. So we were in between like workshops and classes that we were doing, and it was like a break for lunch. We went to go to lunch in downtown area. I don't know Tampa geography super well, but envision this. It's a car full of 5 people. It was me, my COO, and then 3 models in the backseat or in like a Malibu or something like that, like a Chevy Malibu. And the road is like one, like, how do you explain this road? Like, one car's going this way, like 2 single lanes.
Yeah, single lane. Yeah.
Yeah, so single lanes. And our car breaks down in one of the lanes, and it is in downtown area. So it is prime, like heavy traffic. So the one lane's still moving, obviously, but we have traffic backed up for I don't even know how far. And then it just starts raining.
No.
Yeah, so it is pouring on us, and we were trying to get back for the next class, and
It's just in the middle of everything going on. Like, you were to and from workshops and connections and networking and things. Yeah.
Yeah, and fortunately, one of the models that was with us actually worked in car mechanics. Like, what are the odds? So she pops up the hood and like gets us running again. But we were there for about 20 minutes because we had to like completely disconnect, I guess, the battery, turn the car off, like wait for whatever, some kind of reset, and then start it again.
Oh my gosh. Were people like freaking out behind you? Were they honking?
Yeah. People were so upset, and rightfully so. I get it. Sure. Like, so I felt bad for them. But yeah, so anyway, we come to the next workshop just kind of like drenched, wet, looking like wet rats. But you know, you do what you got to do.
The show must go on.
The show must always go on. Yeah. So anyway, that was our Tampa one. And then that was 2023. 2024, which is this year, I'm actually hosting an exclusive creatives networking event this weekend. And this one's different than other ones because it's invite only. And there's like quote unquote like rules to it. Like, everyone has to be given so many photos. Everybody has to agree to this. Like, photos are equally belonging to model and photographer.
I love that. That's just like a contract before the contract, before you invite people that are trustworthy, right?
Exactly.
That's so cool. You're learning from that. You're adapting to that, and you're helping enable other creators not to fall for that as well, which is incredible.
Yeah.
How do you see other models, photographers, and agencies working in your space? Do you see them as community or competitors or both?
Community. I don't view anyone as a competitor because I believe so heavily in our services and what we provide, and I do believe that they're really good.
Yeah.
So I'm not super worried about people being competition, and I tell models like no one's your competition. Like, if the client's gonna book a 5'5" redhead and you're a 5'10" blonde, you probably weren't even in the same like wheelhouse.
Right.
You know, you're never really considered, and that's not because you're not good. It's just because whatever their demographic is that they're looking for is that person.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You're not going to fit every single box, and that's fine. That's uniqueness. That's good. But yeah, I would say I actually work with other agencies up in DC. So like if we have a casting and maybe we can't find somebody for that client, we'll reach out to them and we have a great relationship. That is not the case with all agencies though. Like
Yeah.
especially the Virginia area. I'm in my own little bubble is what I've realized recently. Nobody really messes with me. I don't have drama with any other agencies. But there's some other agencies in the Virginia area who are all like at each other. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, I hope I never get involved in that.
I can only imagine how taxing that is on like the productivity and efficiency of an agency though. If you're just trying to get better than the next person as opposed to like being your best self, right? Of always moving forward. Yeah, I think it's an advantage for you for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
All righty. We are coming down to our last few segments here. Kate, how are we feeling so far?
Great.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm going to grab a drink of water here and we're going to jump into my favorite part. I always put my favorite stuff at the end. The great clickbait clips right here. Topics and trends. Because as an aspiring model myself, I have to know, Kate, what are some of the current trends in the modeling and photography industry that get you excited to go out and create more content?
I feel like the trends in the modeling and photography world are just, they're not, I don't think they're changing too much. Photography, I would say there's like this timeless trend going on where it's like the blurred photo. I don't know if you've seen that, but especially in wedding photography or like couples, people just like these like blurry photos. Does that make sense? Like
Interesting.
the
Yeah.
motion blur. That's what I've been seeing a lot of for models, and I feel like it's still, but that like high frequency separation of like the skin, where it's like super super edited and almost perfect skin texture, where it borderline looks, what is it, AI?
Yeah.
Partially
Or a
dyslexic.
filter. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Partially dyslexic, so I was about to say IA.
That's okay. AI.
Yeah. That's probably the biggest trend I see right now. Going on.
Gotcha. Are there any trends in the modeling industry right now that you believe are harmful?
I try to stay out of all the harmful stuff. There's like the trying to be so skinny that's super harmful, and people, using certain substances to maintain a certain weight. There's, EDs that are really prevalent that are normalized. I remember I used to travel with girls and it was like bragging about, oh, I forgot to eat today, or oh, I didn't eat today. Or they would literally buy food to like seem like they were participating and then end up throwing it away, like not eating.
Oh, wow.
Because they wanted to be so thin and so skinny. And I would say that is very, very harmful. And healthy is going to look a lot better in the long run, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I know you have alluded to this a couple times, and we can definitely jump on it now when it comes to like health and fitness as well. Obviously, for those getting into the modeling agency, but also those in modeling as well, I'm sure health and wellness plays a big part too. And just remaining healthy, staying active, being fit, other, whether that's be, a 5-day regimen or 3-day regimen. Do you have a certain like fitness requirement or goal, or maybe just kind of expectation you have with folks that are coming on board with you of, in addition to your, the policy around like not creating drama and things? Is there a fitness quote as well?
There's not a fitness quote. I don't like putting a bunch of rules and stipulations on the people that we manage. I bring them on because of who they are. I have phone calls with them and get to know their personality and who they are and what's important to them.
Sure.
I want them to know I'm here to help them in any way possible, but I don't want to force anything or pressure them into anything. I just don't think that's ever good. There are agencies that will require their models to get so many steps a week or to exercise so many times a day, or not a day, a week. And while I'm sure intentions might, actually, I don't think the intentions are good. I think the intentions are to get the model skinnier.
Right.
I just want them to be confident and happy. And I think if you're confident and happy, then that's better than, in my opinion, being on the cover of Vogue.
Yeah.
And being,
because then you can be yourself. And that's why it sounds like that's why you're hiring people like to be themselves, and to obviously you're taking photographs and meeting a criteria and telling a story, right? But with each person being so unique, it's kind of like genius to like not put everybody in a box. You know what I mean? It just kind of doesn't make sense to me how that has occurred, but it has.
Yeah. And I've been down the road that I'm trying to keep people from going down.
Yeah.
The eating disorder, the not eating. Like I'm telling you, I'm traveling with these girls that do that, but I did that too. I mean, some body frames aren't meant to be a certain size, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like my body frame is not meant to be a size 0, but I was fitting a size 0 back in the day. And I wasn't eating. I was quote unquote like vegetarian. So I was vegetarian and I just like wouldn't eat. So
Sure.
I don't know what we would call that.
Yeah.
But it was because you feel so insecure because you feel these or you see these girls that are so thin and you want to be like them. But like beauty comes in so many shapes. Like the curvy bodies are so beautiful. And I remember that was a realization I had as I was looking at this one girl and I'm like, wow, like she's so curvy. Like she's got thick thighs and a slim waist. And I'm like, that's beautiful. And I'm over here trying to look like a ruler, just straight up and down. And that's when I really like this person's beautiful, they're skinny, this person's beautiful, they're curvy, this person's beautiful, they're athletic, right? You can be any of these and be beautiful. You just have to own whatever beauty you want.
Yeah. Now, with the management piece of things too, it sounds like you're almost creating this like mentor role in addition to being an agency as well, because the word agency gets thrown around a lot because, as you mentioned before, some people they need 10 clients because that makes $1,000 and that's $10,000 and things like that. What are your thoughts on the importance of mentorship, especially in your creative industry and space?
I think mentorship is an interesting thing because I've had girls call me their mentor. And for me, whenever I think of mentor, I'm thinking of like somebody that's like 40 or 50. And I'm 26, about to be 27.
Like, I'm your boss. Please don't call me mentor.
I know.
That makes me feel old, right? Older, yeah.
Yeah. And it would be really weird when these girls that were just a couple of years younger than me are saying I'm their mentor. And it's definitely a role that I haven't felt comfortable yet stepping into. But I am here to help in any way. And if that means being a mentor, then I'll take on that title.
That brings that like unique nature of like being a business owner because like, it goes back to leadership, right?
Mm-hmm.
It like whether you want to call yourself a leader or mentor or not, right? It's like you are like everyone is a leader in their own regard, whether you're like, a dad at home, you're leading a family or like, business owner leading a company or, just leading your fitness, challenge and influencers like that. When it comes to your leadership, I would encourage you to lean into it more because I definitely sense that like you said, the mentorship, I don't think it's about age. I think it's about like your ability to portray your values in a very like wise and informative way that people just get it just by seeing it. So
yeah.
All righty. With that said, we have our second to last segment here. We're going to play a little game. We're going to shake things up, Kay. Okay. So I like to run by a fun scenario with you. You can pick the model and the type of modeling. Sound good?
Okay.
All right. If there was a model just starting out and they had no wardrobe, what would be the first set of outfits they would need to acquire, and what type of clothing would they need to get, and how much would they typically need to set aside to pay for that cost?
I would say the most important thing a new model needs in their wardrobe, can it be a couple things?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. So we're talking full wardrobe and you pick the model in the niche and then just run it down for us.
Okay. So let's just take a model that's 5'5", so it's a petite model, and they're between a size 0 to 4.
Okay.
Okay. If they had nothing in their wardrobe and they're going shopping, I would tell them to look for a form-fitted black top, form-fitted bottoms, like jeans, like ripped jeans, preferably not leggings, as well as any kind of nude undergarments. So like nude bralettes, nude bottoms, nude tank tops, nude heels are essential. Nude heels, black heels, and white heels need to be in your closet at all times.
Okay.
And then black, I'm gonna start black form-fitted top, nude form-fitted top, and white form-fitted top. So think neutrals. And then jeans and black pants. These are essential in your closet. Why? Because when you go to castings or you go on casting calls, you need to have that black form-fitted outfit on. Nude undergarments are essential for when you're going to model commercial, e-commerce, beauty, anything like that. A strapless nude top needs to be in your wardrobe somehow, even if it's a tank top where you tuck the straps in. Um, and then as far as just if you're trying to freelance and create your own styling, that could be just anything.
Yeah. No, I love that. And just, it sounds like the base, and I'm going to mess up these terms again, but it just sounds like it's just a baselining to highlight your features and then
Mhm.
also to make you kind of like presentable as in ready to go for any shoot. Sounds like that's going to be your ticket to like getting more gigs and shows.
Yeah.
Not endorsing that completely unless you hire on K for KBC management, but in general, that's going to be the way to go.
The all black outfit, black heels is going to be a staple every time when you're showing up.
Do we know how many heels and like what the size of the heels are? Or it just needs to be uplifted a little bit?
Just uplifted a little bit, something you're comfortable in walking in. Obviously, if you can't walk in 4 or 5 inch heels, don't get those. Get something that you can walk in and look professional.
Do you think the ability to walk in heels is a prerequisite for modeling?
Yeah, you definitely have to be able to walk in heels and you have to be able to stand in them for hours.
As a non-model, I believe it's true, but I wanted to hear it from the source. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, this has been a great conversation. We would love to extend a warm welcome for you to share any final words with the audience. But in order to get there, you have to go through some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Do you accept?
I accept.
Alrighty. First one, we'll start off super fun, super easy. What's your favorite spot in Virginia Beach for a photo shoot? Now, I know you might have secret spots that you can't go because that's your spot, but in general, where do you recommend people go for good photo shoots?
I like Croatan Beach.
Oh, yeah, that's a great spot.
Yeah, that's in Virginia Beach, right? Croatan?
Absolutely. Yeah. Croatan Beach. It's the highest, sorry, my real estate's showing here. The most expensive houses aside from Broad Bay, but it looks like luxury if you get the houses in the background the right way. Yeah. What do you think is the most underrated part of the Virginia Beach area or the 757 Hampton Roads area?
The food. Like any food. Like there's so many amazing food places in Virginia Beach, especially there's like a new tea house that opened up. I don't know if you're familiar. Love that place. Virginia Beach has so many little cool nooks and crannies.
Oh yeah, you're talking pagoda. You're like tea house in Virginia Beach. Keep it coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your favorite flavor of ice cream? And do you have a favorite ice cream shop locally that you enjoy going to?
I think it's Blue Cow is what it's called.
Oh, yeah. Over on Shore Drive?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they have this, like, I think it's called, like, 3 Ships coffee ice cream with, like, dark chocolate chip shavings. It's so good.
I love
My
that.
favorite.
2 local business calls there. 3 Ships Coffee, Blue Cow. Yeah. Yeah, and then go over to Hot Tuna if you want to get, wild and crazy on a Friday. Yeah.
Right.
What's a book you're currently reading or would recommend for someone regarding the personal development realm?
Right now, I'm currently reading Atomic Habits by, I want to say, James Clear.
Yeah. How's that been for you?
It's been really good. I read it every day when I'm in the sauna at the gym. So that's kind of my time to read is when I'm in the sauna. It's habit stacking, which he actually talks about in the book. And then you said, what is a book I recommend for what?
Oh, just one you're reading or one you would recommend. So would you recommend Atomic Habits or is there another one you would recommend for personal development?
I would recommend Atomic Habits. I would also recommend the book Wired That Way. I can't remember the author of that book, but it's really good for understanding people and developing your people skills. And it really helped me in closing deals with clients, especially as a freelance model, because you learn each personality and how they tick.
That's such a good skill set to have, especially because just like in modeling and in business, everyone's different. They all have their, the PCM model, figuring out what type. Do they like jokes? Are they angry? Or all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
What's one thing you can't live without when it comes to your daily routine?
My phone.
Guilty as charged there. Yes.
And coffee. First thing in the morning, coffee. It's my first part of my daily routine.
So all of your blogs, you go and get coffee, or for the most part, you get some type of Starbucks beverage. Are you still on your Starbucks kick, or are you more at like the homebrew lifestyle now?
Oh, I'm homebrew lifestyle now for sure. I only do Starbucks if I'm traveling.
Considering the cost of coffee has gone up like $5 from 5 years ago. So
and I'm on my health journey now. So I use like the vanilla protein shakes as like my milk base,
such a good hack.
Yeah, and then espresso over top of it.
Oh, love that. Do you do? I got some ice molds rabbit trail. I have some molds for my birthday, and I got this circle and cubed. And yeah, I just pour the coffee and do like some coffee ice cubes. You do those as well?
I do, yeah.
What do you prefer, the square or the circular ones?
I do.
Or are you doing that Chick-fil-A stuff, like all that like mini chicken nugget? Yeah.
No, I think mine are cubes. I don't think I have circles.
Yeah. I like the cubed ones because I feel so sophisticated when I drink it. A little bit of chocolate drizzle, ice, coffee, creamer, and then whipped cream, just like.
It's so good.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to go get one of those after this interview. Okay. Last one. What's your go-to activity for unwinding after a busy day? And I want to open this up too, because you said your life and your business are so intertwined, and sounds like you are a lot of times giving time for other people. I'm curious, what does it look like to give time for yourself as well? So just curious what that looks like for your unwinding from a busy day.
Well, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, so I can't even get notifications. But then my unwinding is usually like a really nice long shower, and then a face mask and some snacks in bed, and then watching whatever show that I'm watching, which is something I used to never do, is watch TV. But now I get into shows, and right now I'm on Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah.
So
what season are you on?
I just started. I'm on season 1.
Oh, the best one. The best season 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. 11, and that character transformation is so cool. Well, that sounds like a great fun journey and a great place to end this conversation. Okay, you've made it through the end of the rapid fire question section. Congratulations. Would love to roll out the virtual red carpet for you. This is your time to share to this camera here. Any final words or messages you want to leave the audience with? The floor is all yours.
Yeah, if you're looking to get into any kind of entrepreneurial adventure, I would just say go for it. I would say do less planning and more acting. Planning is good as long as it's not prohibiting action. And then if you're trying to get into model or the creatives, a great place to start is online and on social media. And if you ever have any questions, you can always reach out to KBC Management. Our Instagram is literally KBC Management. You can shoot an email and somebody on our team will get back to you and answer those questions for you.
Lovely, lovely. Kate, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.